1 year ago today was that horrific tragedy in Israel. And so we're commemorating it by talking to Captain Elkana Cohen about what has been going on since, what happened that day, and what's been going on since. Captain Cohen, welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be here.
It's great to have you on. So what kind of carnage did you encounter? Because you were deployed on October 7th last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kinds of things did you encounter once you got there?
Yes, so as you probably most of you know, October 7th was a holiday for us. I slept in my in-laws. I'm reserve duty. I'm not an active reserve.
Mm-hmm.
And 5:30 in the morning, my wife woke me up. It was an hour before everything actually started. She woke me up terrified while she had a nightmare. And in her nightmare, hundreds of terrorists were chasing us, and I couldn't use my gun in order to defend herself. Back, I told her, Shiran, don't worry. Nothing will happen. But then hours later, I was waking up by the Iron Dome system that was activated because of the missile that was shot at us from Gaza. At that point, I understood that something is going on. I told my wife that I'm going to run into my house, open my phone to see if something did happen. I ran into my house, opened my phone, and I called my commander, and he told me that something bad happening right now in the south. He don't know exactly what's going on, but just prepare everything. I just end up that phone call, and I got another phone call of my friends from my unit who told me that my wife got called up as well. I met my wife during my active service. She used to serve in the same unit that I used to serve. It's a Duvdevan unit. For those who watched Fauda on Netflix, that series based on my unit, so I understood that me and my wife got called up in the same time. This is me. At that point, I basically understand that something bad happening. And we just drove into our base and got ready to fight. And then everything moved on. And, yeah.
Wow. I don't know if many people understand just the magnitude of what happened to Israel a year ago today. With 1,400 Israelis dying, that would have been the equivalent of 50,000 Americans on 9/11. So this was a catastrophe on a gigantic scale that's really hard to get your head around. And yet, it must be frustrating to hear all the cries of genocide from the people who are sympathizing with the Palestinians. That must be really tough to hear.
Yeah, it's definitely very tough to hear. And it's good that you put it in numbers, because it's not only 50-something people that murder equivalent in the U.S., it's also 7,500 people that got kidnapped that day. And while we're talking, we are mentioning right now, people said it's an anniversary. For me, it's not an anniversary. It's a Memorial Day.
Yeah, right.
Right now, there are still 101 hostages that still in the dungeons of Hamas, and we're just praying and fighting for them to make sure that we will be able to come home.
Amazing. With all the footage that's been almost blocked here in America, they don't want people to see what happened. What's your thought on that? Should all of that be released, and we should all be seeing the carnage that was brought on by Hamas to Israel a year ago, and what they're continuing to do? And instead of Israel taking the heat, it should be, look what they did. I mean, they attacked us.
Yeah, you're definitely right. I'm always debatable about that, because that video, no one should see it. That kind of videos, Hamas was proud about them. Right now, you see people supporting them while we're talking. There are people here in New York, they marking and just proudly support them in what they did. And on October 7th, what they did was to slaughter babies, kill people, and a festival of music, that their only crime was that they were dancing during a holiday. They went inside kibbutzim and butchered families. old people, young people. They rape ladies, moms. What they've done there, it's just unbelievable. So in my perspective, normal human beings shouldn't watch that. But unfortunately, we saw huge amount of people that supporting them. So for those people, if they don't believe, they have to see that, unfortunately, because otherwise they just won't understand what happened that day. And while we talk, it's still happening. Because
Right.
as I just mentioned, there is still 101 hostages. There are still people at the Gaza Strip who are supporting Hamas, which we also need to mention. Hamas was elected. People say that Hamas is not the representative for the people who live in Gaza. There was elected, and the majority of the people in Hamas supporting them. But I can tell you that when I went into the Gaza Strip, I saw the amount of ammunition in every house. I saw the pictures inside of every house, and I saw the huge support to those terror organization. We have to say that out loud. We have to talk about that, because otherwise people will think it's genocide, and it just drives me crazy, because I know how many times I put my life on the line and I rescue myself and my teammate in order to make sure that non-civilians getting hurt in between. And while Hamas don't care about his own people and using them as human shield.